If you desire to levy heavy taxes on the aristocratic class, you should likely commence with your personal wardrobe consultant. What ensued was the most brutal political dismantling observed since Richard Nixon last departed the White House. However, this time the objective was not a veteran legislator who had weathered the swamp for decades. This was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the algorithm empress of Instagram, the dissident who books private jets to environmental summits, the proletariat champion with a loft in a restricted zone. She assumed she was stepping into a welcoming press atmosphere, a chance to glow a stage to signal her ideology to millions of observers, another viral instant for her colossal digital following. She marched straight into a rhetorical slaughterhouse. And if you presume you have witnessed political forums turn hostile previously, just wait, because what Trump executed in the subsequent hour made historic debates look like cordial luncheons. This was not merely a divergence on legislation. This was not even a typical political defeat. This was a surgical autopsy conducted on a burgeoning political celebrity in front of 300 observers and millions of domestic spectators. Drop a siren emoji in the chat if you are prepared to see democratic socialism receive a reality check from the universe. The Fox News exclusive titled "The American Precipice" was engineered to be Tucker Carlson's demonstration of journalistic objectivity, an impartial platform where Trump and AOC would each handle inquiries from meticulously chosen spectators representing the entire political spectrum. Las Vegas, Nevada. A critical battleground state, a divided audience, and flawless production standards. What could conceivably go awry, the studio, was vintage Fox News, polished and contemporary, bathed in intense blue illumination that made everyone appear slightly edgy under the theatrical rigs. 300 onlookers sat in a semicircular formation, half sporting MAGA caps, half exhibiting climate emergency buttons. Tucker Carlson stood at center stage, donning a bow tie and a grave demeanor, clutching his cue cards like a weapon. Trump arrived first, executing his trademark thumbs-up and fist-pump gesture to the gathering. The conservative faction cheered vociferously. The liberal faction sat on their hands in total silence. He wore a navy suit, a ruby tie and a flag pin. Vintage Trump. He relaxed into his seat with the nonchalant assurance of a tycoon who had performed this act 1,000 times. Then came AOC. She wore what style columnists would later characterize as accessible opulence, a white power suit over a silk blouse, a daring pendant, and her signature crimson lipstick. Her heels echoed across the platform as she signaled to her devotees in the bleachers. The liberal faction went absolutely delirious. Someone screamed, "Eat the rich." She flashed that million-dollar grin and settled into her seat, modifying her posture and projecting authority. Tucker cleared his throat to commence. Welcome to this Fox News exclusive forum tonight. We will hear from President Trump and Representative Ocasio-Cortez on the trials confronting our republic. Let us commence with our initial audience inquiry. Tucker, if I may just interject briefly. Trump interrupted, leaning forward in his seat. Tucker exhaled loudly. Proceed, Mr. President. I want to express gratitude to Fox for hosting us both here. I know we have had our conflicts in the past. Fake news, enemy of the populace, all that rhetoric. But tonight, I believe we are going to have a very illuminating evening. Very illuminating, undoubtedly. People are going to discover a great deal. He turned to AOC with a smirk that did not quite reach his eyes. Alexandria, if I may address you as Alexandria, I am going to address you as Alexandria. You appear very expensive tonight. Very corporate. Is that ensemble new? It appears brand new. AOC's smile stiffened. Thank you, Mr. President. And yes, the American citizens are going to discover a massive amount tonight about your hollow vows, your graft, your massive. Trump interrupted. Love the vitality. Tucker, let us get this production on the highway. Tucker Carlson appeared like a man who already lamented every choice that brought him to this instant. He had no concept how much worse it was about to become. The first inquiry came from a middle-aged educator wearing a climate justice tee. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, how do you answer to detractors who state you do not abide by the principles you evangelize, that you advocate for wealth redistribution while savoring a deluxe existence? AOC's eyes ignited. This was her home territory. She uncrossed her legs and leaned in, moving her hands theatrically. Thank you for that inquiry look. This is a narrative we hear incessantly from the right, and it fundamentally misinterprets our objectives. I am not stating everyone should be impoverished. I am stating everyone should have entry to healthcare, schooling, housing. The reality that I have toiled hard and attained a platform does not nullify that. It demonstrates that when people have an opening, they can flourish. And I am utilizing my platform to magnify the vocals of those who do not possess one. A claim from the left side nods of concurrence. She was discovering her rhythm. Trump raised his hand like a pupil in a schoolhouse. Tucker, may I reply, because this is going to be enjoyable. This is going to be hugely enjoyable. Tucker looked agonized. Mr. President, it is not your turn to vocalize yet. I know, but she stated something about entry and platform, and I have to reply to this. I really must. He turned to face AOC, directly extracting his smartphone out of his suit pocket. You cited utilizing your entry and platform. Let us discuss that. Tucker, can we project this on the jumbo screen? A technician scrambled to link Trump's phone to the broadcast network. Suddenly, the colossal screens flanking the stage illuminated with snapshots from the 2024 Davos Secret Summit in Switzerland. There was AOC glowing in a glittering platinum gown. The phrase, "Eat the rich," embroidered in diamond dust down the spine. The left side of the hall cheered, acknowledging the notorious image. Gorgeous gown, Trump stated, his voice dripping with synthetic adoration. Truly gorgeous, very elegant, very haute couture, that is Swiss, by the way, means very costly. AOC's jaw set firm. That gown was making a declaration. I was utilizing fashion as a platform to socialize with oligarchs. Trump's smirk broadened. Let me demonstrate to everyone what you were truly doing. The screen shifted more snapshots from the Swiss Alps. AOC posing with crypto barons. AOC laughing with defense contractors. AOC clinking crystal flutes with a circle of people whose combined assets were larger than the economy of most nations. Trump stood up, gesturing at the screen like a prosecutor displaying exhibits. So let me understand this correctly. You jetted to a gala. Not a refuge for the destitute, not a soup kitchen, not a catastrophe zone. A gala, the Davos Summit, where badges cost, Tucker. Do you know what badges cost? $70,000. Tucker whispered quietly, already grasping where this was heading. $70,000. Trump reiterated, letting it suspend in the atmosphere. Your badge was subsidized by the global banking cartel, very generous of them. But let us be candid about what this function is. It is wealthy people wearing costly garments to gaze at costly sculpture while consuming costly cuisine. He swiped to more snapshots on his phone, cycling through them on the giant display. That gown you are sporting, the platinum one, with the Marxist motto, Designer Balenciaga. Estimated value anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000. $80,000 for a gown you donned one time. AOC opened her mouth to debate, but Trump was on a streak. And who are you with, let us observe? That is the CEO of BlackRock, net worth about $10 billion right there. That is a Saudi prince, $2 billion? Is that Elon Musk? Oh boy, he is worth nearly $200 billion. And there you are, in the center of it all, wearing your Eat the Rich gown, sipping their vintage champagne. What vintage was it? Tucker? Do we know? I believe it was Krug. Tucker stated, checking his notes with visible unease. Krug, naturally, it was nothing but the finest for the socialist insurgent. The right side of the crowd erupted in mirth. Even some individuals on the left were smiling uncomfortably. AOC attempted to seize back control. Mr. President, you are overlooking the point intentionally. The gown was a symbol I was raising a consciousness for. You were raising consciousness for yourself. Trump interrupted. Let me inform you what the median American was doing that evening. Toiling, 2 jobs, perhaps, arriving home exhausted, trying to calculate how to pay the lease, how to purchase fuel, how to preserve something for their offspring. And you were at a globalist gala with billionaires wearing a gown that costs more than their mortgage down payment, drinking wine that costs more than their vehicle payment. He paused for impact, looking straight into the lens. The only thing absent was a tiara. You could have been Marie Antoinette, let them eat legislation. Unfathomable, the hall was in pandemonium now. Mirth from the right, furious yells from the left. Tucker Carlson attempted desperately to reinstate order. Please, let us keep it courteous. Trump sat back down, still smirking. But I comprehend it. I really do. You were utilizing entry. You were utilizing your platform. You were disseminating the message. He leaned in, delivering the punchline. Yes, you spread the message right on to an $80,000 gown. Tremendous messaging. Very effectual. AOC's visage had gone from assured to crimson, she stammered. Davos grants entry to dialogues about equity. Davos grants entry to wealthy patrons, Trump stated bluntly. And you seized it. You wore their gown. You drank their wine. You smiled for their lenses. And then you went home to your loft and told your followers you had battled the power hierarchy. He turned to the audience, folks. You cannot fabricate this material. You literally cannot fabricate this material. The right side gave him a standing ovation. Several people on the left looked deeply distressed, unable to vindicate what they had just witnessed. Tucker Carlson, perspiring under the studio beams, tried to proceed. Let us take another inquiry. Wait, Trump stated, raising one digit, one more thing, Alexandria. I am inquisitive. After the gala, did you keep the gown, or did you have to surrender it back to the corporation? AOC glared at him. I donated it to a textile museum. You donated it, naturally you did, because you are not affluent enough to keep an $80,000 gown. Trump shook his head in mock sorrow. That must have been difficult wearing opulence for a night, then having to return it like Cinderella. Except the princess did not lecture the peasantry about wealth redistribution. Even Tucker Carlson could not conceal a slight smirk at that jab. Very well, Trump stated, leaning back. We can proceed now. But folks watching at home, if you assume that was savage, wait till you hear about her private mercenary squad. Share this feed if you want to see more. Tucker Carlson, visibly shaken, tried to regain command of his program. Let us turn to the subject of climate change, which Representative Ocasio-Cortez has made central to her platform. Oh, we will get to climate, Trump interrupted, extracting a different binder from under his seat. But first we have to discuss her transport. AOC's eyes narrowed. My transport is not pertinent to. A custom-armored Lucid Air Sapphire, Trump announced, opening the binder like it contained classified intelligence. She drives a customized electric tank. The people's champion drives a $250,000 electric fortress. He looked around the hall with exaggerated bewilderment. I mean, I am just trying to comprehend the rationale here. You are fighting for the proletariat, right? The oppressed, the people struggling to survive. AOC nodded rigidly. Yes, which is why. So you purchased a vehicle that costs $250,000. It is an investment in green mobility. $250,000. Trump let every syllable land heavy. You know what the median American pays for a car. $30,000 used, not new used. He pulled a sheet of paper from his binder, but let us not cease at the car. Let us discuss where you park it. Your condo at Billionaires Row, very posh area, very exclusive. How much are the association dues there? Alexandria. I do not see how about $5,000 a month, give or take. Trump showed the paper to the lens. It was an invoice from her management company. And what do you receive for $5,000? Let me recite from the privileges list. Private concierge, biometric, security, heated floors, meditation wing, feline spa. The last one elicited laughs. Even from the left side of feline spa, Trump repeated clearly, entertained. Your building has a facility to give massages to cats. Meanwhile, people in your district are choosing between heating and eating. But at least their congresswoman's cat can get a deep tissue massage. AOC was visibly irate now. I labor tirelessly for my constituency. I am certain you do. I am certain between yoga sessions and private elevator rides, you locate time to ponder the working man. Trump was enjoying himself immensely, but let us do the arithmetic, because I love arithmetic. I am very good at arithmetic, the best at arithmetic. He pulled out a calculator, holding it up theatrically. Your salary as a representative is $174,000 a year. Very pleasant, very comfortable. After taxes in New York, you are taking home about what, $110,000. Let us be magnanimous and say 120. He started counting on his Digits Association dues at $5,000 a month. That is $60,000 a year. The Lucid lease, she leased it by the way, did not buy it cash. That is about $3,000 a month, call it $36,000 a year. Then there is insurance, which is massive for a luxury EV utilities, for a luxury penthouse in Manhattan sustenance. And I am guessing you are not shopping at Aldi, probably Erewhon, maybe that fancy organic grocer. This is preposterous, AOC interrupted. You are trying to... I am trying to show people the reality. Trump shot back. You earn $174,000. That is 3 times the median household income in America. You live in a luxury penthouse with perks most Americans will never witness. You drive a car that costs more than many families earn in a decade. And you are telling those families that people like me are the cancer. He leaned back, opening his arms. At least I am candid about being affluent. I put my name on towers, TRUMP, giant gold letters. You cannot miss it. I fly in private jets. I live in gold palaces. I eat steak well done. But I never feigned to be something I am not. The audience was mesmerized. Even AOC's fans looked dubious. Trump pulled out another document, and the designer apparel. Oh boy, the designer apparel. You have been photographed with Hermes bags. Those run $10,000 to $15,000. Your sunglasses, Jacques Marie, Mage brand, $1,200. I did my investigation, Alexandria. I always do my investigation. He turned to Tucker Carlson. Tucker, you have nice spectacles. Are those designer? Tucker touched his spectacles self-consciously. No, these are just standard frames. Precisely, Tucker does not need $1,200 spectacles to prove he is intelligent. But she does because her whole brand is being cool, being the chic socialist, being the Instagram revolutionary. Trump stood up again, pacing. Now, let me tell you what destroys me, what really, truly destroys me about this. It is not that you are affluent, good for you. You achieved it, the American dream. But you are affluent, while telling everyone else that being affluent is immoral. You are living the exact existence you claim to loathe. He walked over to his seat and picked up another piece of paper. I had my team create a comparison chart, very simple, very lucid. The screen lit up with a side-by-side list. Median American household versus AOC category, median American AOC. Annual income, $70,000, $174,000, monthly rent, $1,800, $5,000 plus vehicle value, $25,000, $250,000, annual spending $4,000, unknown but colossal. Trump pointed at the screen. You are not representing the proletariat, darling. You are representing the proletariat that shops at Arrowhon and thinks $20 strawberries are normal. There is a designation for people like you. We used to call them limousine liberals, rich, urban elites, remember that. Now, I guess we call them democratic socialists. Same champagne, different flute. The right side erupted in applause. Several Democrats in the audience were nodding. Despite themselves, it was hard to argue with figures on a screen. AOC tried to mount a defense. This is a personal assault designed to distract from a personal assault. Trump's eyebrows shot up. No, 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 no. A personal assault is when I call you AOC the thespian or something humorous. This is just arithmetic, and arithmetic does not care about your emotions. He sat back down, looking gratified. But we are not finished. Oh no, we have not even gotten to the really prime material yet. Wait till you hear what she did with the disaster relief funds and the youth center. This gets wild. Tucker Carlson looked like he wanted to vanish. Several Democrats in the audience were checking their phones, probably trying to figure out how to explain this online. But Trump was not waiting for their blog posts. He was just getting started. Leave a comment if you are still watching, he said directly to the lens, because the next part is where we track the currency. And folks, currency never lies. An older Hispanic woman stood up in the audience, her voice thick with emotion. I want to ask about the Bronx Youth Garden Fund my family volunteers at a center in your district that was vandalized last year. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, you raised funds for community spaces. What actually happened to it? AOC's entire manner shifted. This was her moment. She uncrossed her legs and leaned forward, her voice dropping to that grave tone she used for tragic narratives. Thank you so much for that inquiry. The Bronx is deep in my soul. My neighbor actually volunteers there. After the vandalism, many spaces were destroyed. The infrastructure, her voice cracked slightly. The infrastructure still has not been properly restored. Every time I walk past, I see broken fences. These people have been there for decades, and the system failed them, just like it failed so many families. She pulled out her phone, bringing up photos. I shared these pictures last year. This is the garden. Look at the damage. Look at the debris. This is what happens when we do not support our communities. This is what happens when we treat the Bronx like an afterthought, instead of the heart of New York. The photos appeared on the screen. A ruined lot, overturned, soil, broken glass. It was tragic. Several audience members wiped their eyes. This is why I battle AOC, continued her voice, getting louder. Because our community volunteers should not have to lose everything, because Bronx residents deserve better, because... Tucker. May I interject? Trump raised his hand, but he was already standing, because this is going to be excellent. This is going to be massive. AOC turned to him, confused by his tone. It was not mocking. It was something else, something colder. You shared those photos in October of 2024, right? Trump pulled up his own phone, scrolling. Yeah, October 15th. Very sad, very moving. Got a lot of retweets, over 300,000. Lot of attention, lot of press. AOC's neighborhood vandalized. Congress fails youth centers. Very powerful material. AOC nodded warily. Yes, to raise consciousness to what happened next. Trump's smile was gone. See a group of local investors. Conservative investors, definitely not your fans. They saw those photos, and you know what they did. The screen changed to show a crowdfunding page. They started a fund to raise money for that specific garden to rebuild the fences. AOC's face went pale and people donated. Trump continued, his voice still, scary, quiet. A lot of people who probably loathe your politics, people who think your ideas are insane, but they saw a community suffering and they donated. The screen showed the final amount, $45,000 Trump read in 2 days, for that garden to fix their lot to help them. The audience was completely silent. Everyone knew something was arriving. And you know what you did? Trump turned to face AOC directly. You blocked it. You halted the fund, you said. And I am reading your statement here. It is not about one garden. It is about systemic zoning reform. Her voice rose. That garden needed new fences. And you said no, because it was not systemic enough. The audience gasped. Even Democrats looked shocked. Trump pulled out more documents. Let us talk about the arithmetic again, because I love arithmetic. The fund raised $45,000. The estimated cost to fix the garden, according to 3 contractors my team called in New York, between $20,000 and $30,000 max. He let that sink in, so there was enough money to fix the lot completely. And you said no. AOC tried to respond. It was about the ethics. The ethics, Trump's voice was genuinely angry now. What ethics? The ethic that a community should suffer for your political talking point? He walked closer to her seat. Your net worth is about $500,000. That is estimated. You could have fixed that garden yourself, but you did not. Then other people offered to fix it, and you stopped them. The screen changed again, showing a breakdown. The garden scandal track. The currency repair cost $30,000, fund raised $45,000, AOC's net worth $500,000, amount AOC donated $0. Garden status still closed. You used them, Trump said quietly. You put them on Twitter. You made them a prop. You got your viral moment. You got your headlines. AOC slams city over vandalism. And that community still has no garden. The silence in the room was heavy. But, hey, at least you got engagement. Trump added, his voice dripping with disgust. At least you looked good to your followers. At least you could use their tragedy to attack your political enemies. That is what really matters, right? AOC was visibly shaken. That is not. It is not about one lot. It is about structural. It is always about structure. With you. Trump exploded. It is never about actual people. Your own neighbors are actual people, and you chose your political brand over their sanctuary. He pulled out one final document. You know what the saddest part is? After all this, a different group, a local church, reached out to help. And you know what they said in their statement? The Congresswoman's office advised us not to get involved. Trump looked at the audience. She would not even let the church help her own district because it would have made religious groups look benevolent, because it would have hurt her narrative, because her political image was more important than her own constituents. He turned back to AOC. I have done a lot of things people hate. I have been sued. I have said mean things. I have been called every name in the book. But I have never used a community's ruin for political gain while refusing actual help. That is cold. That is really cold. Even Tucker Carlson looked uncomfortable. Several Democrats in the audience were openly wincing. AOC tried one last defense. The money came from questionable sources. So what Trump shouted, "Who cares? Who gave it?" The fences would still be built. That community would still have a safe space, but you could not let that happen because it came from the wrong people with the wrong politics. He shook his head. You know what? This tells me you do not actually care about helping people. You care about being known as the savior. There is a difference, and your district learned it the hard way, and the right side of the audience was applauding, but it was not happy. It was angry, justified applause. Even some on the left sat silent, unable to defend what they just heard. Tucker Carlson weakly tried to move on. Maybe we should. One more thing. Trump held up a finger. The charity money. Since you refused it, it was returned to the donors. But 20 other gardens in the Bronx reached out and asked for help directly. Those donors helped 20 other lots repair their damage. 20 neighborhoods got help because of the money raised for your garden. 20 neighborhoods whose congresswoman is not Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He paused. Lucky them. Think that is bad. Trump looked directly at the lens. Wait till you see her. Green New Deal? Hypocrisy. The proof is insane. Drop a tree emoji if you think she is a fraud. Tucker Carlson, desperately trying to save some semblance of order, cleared his throat. Let us move to climate change, which has been a signature issue for Representative Ocasio-Cortez, her Green New Deal plan. Yes, let us talk about that. Trump clapped his hands together. Tucker, can you pull up her travel logs? Congressional travel is public, right? Tucker sighed. Mr. President, I am not sure that is, come on. It is public record, congressional flight lists. We got them. My team got them. Trump was already pulling out another binder, this one noticeably thicker. I want to see how our climate warrior travels the world. I am betting it is not on a unicycle. Despite himself, Tucker nodded to a producer. Moments later, data appeared on the screen. Congressional travel records, 2021 to 2025. The spreadsheet filled the screen pages and pages of flight records, destinations, dates. Trump stood up, grabbing a laser pointer from the desk like he was giving a war room briefing. Let us break this down. New York to D.C., that is her commute, right, 200 miles. There is a wonderful train Amtrak, takes about 3 hours. Very nice. Very scenic. You can work on the train. You can read. You can sleep. He pointed the laser at specific lines. Number of times she took the train. 15. The number appeared in green on the screen. Number of times she flew 72. That number appeared in red, much larger. 72 flights for a short trip. Trump's voice rose in fake shock. But wait, it gets better. Way better. He scrolled down the list. Boston flew. Philadelphia flew. Even Baltimore. That is a 45-minute drive or a 30-minute train, flew every single time AOC jumped in. Air travel is sometimes required for scheduling required. Trump turned to her. Required for what? You know who takes the train from New York to D.C. Literally, everyone else. Executives, families, students, they all take the train. It is faster than flying when you count security and boarding, but not for you. He pulled up another document. But this isn't even the good part. This is where it gets really fun. Private helicopter records. Those are not public, AOC started. Leak, 2024. Trump said cheerfully, very unfortunate. Very revealing, your provider got hacked with about 50,000 others. And guess what? We found a new number appeared on screen, 300 flights, 300 private helicopter transfers in the Northeast. Where there is a train, where there is a bus, where there are bikes, those electric scooters everywhere. He started, walking back and forth. Now, I am an aviation guy. I love jets. I have got a lot of jets. Beautiful jets. The best jets. But I do not go around telling people they need to stop flying. She does. She says, we need to ban short-haul flights. She says we need public transit for everyone. She says personal jets are killing the earth. Trump pulled up photos from AOC's Instagram. But here is her getting out of a Blade helicopter to go to a climate protest. Here is her in a chartered chopper going to a meeting about the Green New Deal. Here is her, and this is my favorite, leaving a speech about carbon footprints in a private heli. Even some Democrats were laughing now. But wait. Trump held up his hand. We are not done. We have not talked about where she lives. The screen changed to show her apartment building in Billionaires Row. This luxury tower, very nice, very new. Let me read you something from the building brochure. He pulled out a paper. Quote, 24-hour climate control, heated pool, individual unit air filtration, premium appliances, high-intensity lighting in all common areas. He looked up. You know what that means? This building uses massive amounts of power, way more than a normal apartment building, but it is comfortable. It is fancy. And our climate hero lives there. Trump pulled up a chart. I had my team calculate her carbon footprint just from the known stuff. The flights, the choppers, the luxury condo with always-on, heating and cooling. You ready for this number? Estimated annual CO2 output, AOC 150 tons average, Americans 16 tons. The audience gasped. 150 tons of CO2, Trump repeated slowly. The average American produces 16. She is producing almost 10 times more carbon than the people she lectures about global warming. He walked over to her seat. How do you do it? How do you tell people the world is burning? That we only have 10 years? Or is it 5 years now? I cannot keep track, and then live like you do not believe it. Yourself. AOC stood up, her voice rising. This is exactly the kind of bad faith argument that bad faith Trump's eyebrows shot up. I am using your numbers, your travel logs, your building specs. You are the one saying we need to radically change our lives to save the earth. He pulled up his phone and played a video clip. It was AOC at a climate rally. We have to change everything. The way we move, the way we buy, the way we live, every choice counts. Every car trip counts, every flight counts. Trump paused the video. Every flight counts. You said that. So do your 72 flights count, or do they not count, because you are special? The audience was glued to him. This was not political theory anymore. This was someone's own words being used against them. And the best part, the absolute best part. Trump pulled up another photo. Here is you leaving a climate rally in 2023. Guess what you are holding? The photo zoomed in. AOC was holding a plastic Starbucks cup. Disposable plastic cup, clearly visible. A single-use plastic cup at a rally. About plastic pollution, the audience erupted. Even AOC's supporters could not help but laugh at the irony. You cannot make this up, Trump said, shaking his head. You literally, actually cannot make this up. She is at a rally about saving the oceans, and she has got a throwaway plastic cup in her hand. He turned to the lens folks. If she really believed what she was saying, really believed the planet was dying, wouldn't she at least bring a metal bottle? Wouldn't she take the train? Wouldn't she ride the subway? Trump sat back down organizing his papers. But she does not, because she does not actually believe it. It is all a show. It is all for TikTok. She gets to look like she cares, she gets the likes and the shares and the viral moments, and then she goes home to her climate-controlled luxury penthouse and calls a private chopper. He looked directly at AOC. You want to ban plastic straws for everyone else while you drink from plastic cups. You want to ban gas cars while you fly everywhere. You want public transit for the masses while you ride in private helis. This is not hypocrisy anymore. This is a lifestyle brand. AOC tried to respond individual choices versus systemic change. There is that word again, systemic. Trump cut her off. You know what systemic means in your world? It means rules for thee, but not for me. It means I can have my steak and eat it too, but you have to eat crickets. He stood up one more time. If you really believed we only had a few years left to save the earth, you would be living in a tiny apartment, riding a bike everywhere, growing your own vegetables. But you are not, because you do not believe it. And if you do not believe it enough to change your own life, why should anyone else? The silence was crushing. Still think she is for the people Trump looked at the lens. Wait till you see her campaign finance mess. This woman's entire life is a scam wrapped in good intentions. Share, if you agree, Tucker Carlson, sweating visibly, now tried to pivot. Let us move to health care policy. Hold on. Trump waved his hand dismissively. We got to talk about the consulting firm. AOC's face went from pink to red. My partner has nothing to do with your partner, has everything to do with this. Trump was grinning now, the dangerous smile of someone who had been saving the best for last, because he is on your payroll. He pulled out a new set of documents, these stamped with official seals, Federal Election Commission filings. Beautiful things, FEC filings, so detailed, so specific, so revealing. Tucker Carlson looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. Mr. President, personal relationships. Personal. Nothing is personal when campaign money is involved. Trump slapped the documents on his chair arm. Let me introduce everyone to Apex Horizon Consulting. Nice name, I am sure. Marketing consultant based in Delaware. Very mysterious indeed, and they have been getting paid the screen filled with FEC filing screenshots. Apex Horizon Consulting, LLC. Trump read from the first page payment from AOC campaign, $30,000 for digital strategy. He flipped to the next page. Another LLC, I will not bore you with the full name. It is one of those alphabet soup companies, $400,000 over 4 years for consulting. He looked up at the audience with fake innocence. Now I am just a simple billionaire real estate developer who became president. But even I know that when you pay a mysterious company $250,000 in campaign funds, people might have questions. AOC shot to her feet. Those were legitimate campaign expenses. Oh, I am sure they were. Trump's voice dripped with sarcasm. I am sure the strategy was genius. I'm sure the consulting was priceless. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that the registered agent is your college roommate. Yes, he is from the audience. Tucker Carlson physically flinched. You know, Trump continued casually. When I hired consultants, I hired the best. I hired killers, sharks, winners. When she hires consultants, she hires her friends and hides it in shell companies. It is very progressive, very modern, very, what is the word, laundering adjacent. He pulled out more documents. But let us go deeper. Let us talk about your former chief of staff, Riley Roberts. Nice guy, smart, very progressive. Also, very good at moving money around. New images appeared on screen, more FEC filings, highlighted sections, transfer records, Riley controlled two PACs, Justice Democrats and Brand New Congress. And these PACs paid, wait for it, $1 million to companies he controlled, his own companies. Trump walked to the screen, pointing at specific numbers. See this transfer from Justice Democrats to Justice Global LLC, same name, different entity, very clever. The LLC then pays out to other companies, also owned by Riley. It is like a puzzle except with campaign finance violations. He turned to AOC. You had no idea, right? Your chief of staff was running what the FEC complaint called a potential slush fund, and you knew nothing. AOC's lawyers had clearly prepped her for this. That complaint was dismissed. Was it dismissed, or did you settle? Trump pounced because there is a difference. Dismissed means you did not do it. Settled means you did it, but paid to make it go away. He pulled out another document. Here is the thing about FEC complaints. They are public record. And this one says your chief of staff funneled money through LLCs to avoid campaign finance disclosure laws. That is not me saying it. That is the Federal Election Commission. Trump sat back down, tapping his fingers. So, let me paint a picture. You are running as a democratic socialist. You are fighting corruption. You are fighting big money in politics. You are fighting the establishment. He leaned forward. And at the same time, your partner is getting paid from your campaign. Your chief of staff is moving money through shell companies. Your consultants are all mysteriously connected to people in your personal life. He spread his hands. You are playing the exact same game you say you are fighting against. The only difference is you put democratic in front of socialist. And suddenly, it is okay. The audience was absolutely silent. Even the Democrats looked troubled. Trump pulled up a comparison chart. Old school corruption versus AOC's version. Old school politician helps family directly. Politician pays friends' companies, staffer steals campaign funds. Staffer creates LLCs to move money. Donors get special access. Donors get progressive access money, hidden in foundations, money hidden in PAC transfers. See, Trump pointed at the screen. Same corruption, different packaging. It is like organic corruption. It is corruption with a recyclable label. It is corruption you can feel good about. He turned to the lens, and the thing that kills me, the thing that absolutely kills me, is that she attacks people like me for making money in business. I built buildings. I created jobs. I put my name on everything. You know exactly what you are getting. With Trump, his voice rose. But she hides it behind LLCs and consulting fees and PAC transfers. She pretends she is poor while paying her friends through campaign funds. She pretends she is ethical while her staff runs a money-moving operation. Trump stood up, gathering his papers. At least I am honest about being rich. She is dishonest about being a fake, AOC. Tried one last time. The FEC found no wrongdoing. The FEC found enough to investigate for 2 years. Trump shot back. And you know what happens in Washington when they investigate for 2 years and nothing comes of it? Somebody paid. Somebody settled. Somebody made something go away. He looked at the audience. Follow the money, it always tells the truth. And the money says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is running a business disguised as a political campaign. And she has the nerve. Trump looked directly at the lens to sell tax the rich merchandise. I am not kidding. She literally sells merchandise. Keep watching. You will not believe this. Next part. Trump did not wait for Tucker to speak. He was on a roll, now feeding off the energy of the audience. The momentum of revelation after revelation. Can we talk about the merch? He was almost begging. Please, I got to talk about the merch. This is my favorite part. He pulled up AOC's official campaign store on the big screen, the website loaded showing rows of products, sweatshirts, shirts, tote bags, stickers, pins, hats. Look at this. It is beautiful. It is like if Marx had an Amazon account. The audience laughed even. Tucker Carlson cracked a smile. Trump zoomed in on a specific item tax. The rich hoodie let us see the price. The number appeared $85. He turned to the audience, hands spread. $85 for a hoodie that says, "Tax the rich." He paused for effect. Do you understand the irony? Do you get the joke? She is selling you a hoodie that costs $85 to tell you that rich people are bad. The right side of the audience was howling. Even some on the left were grinning uncomfortably. You know who buys $85 hoodies? Trump continued, rich, or at least comfortable people. Poor people are shopping at thrift stores. They are getting 3 shirts for $10 at Walmart. He walked over to AOC's seat. But if you want to show you are against capitalism, you got to drop $85 on a hoodie made in... Where is it made? Can we check? A producer scrambled to find the manufacturing information. I am betting Vietnam, Trump said confidently, or Cambodia, maybe Indonesia, definitely not America. Definitely not by union workers making $30 an hour, probably made by someone making pennies an hour, but it has got a trendy slogan, so it is fine. The manufacturing tag appeared on screen, made in Pakistan. Pakistan. There we go. Close enough. Trump clapped. How much do you think they pay workers in Pakistan to make hoodies? I am guessing not $85. He pulled out a notepad where he had clearly done some homework. Let me break down the economics because I am in the merch business. Trump ties Trump steaks. Trump vodka. I know merch. He started writing numbers on a whiteboard that someone had wheeled out. A hoodie like this costs about $6 to make in Pakistan. Screen printing adds another $1, shipping from the factory to the warehouse maybe $2. So we are at $9 total cost. He wrote, cost 9. She sells it for $85 sale price. 85, that is a $76 profit margin. Her hoodie. He underlined the number, 76. That is a nearly 900% profit margin. You know who gets profit margins like that? Drug dealers, cartels, big pharma. Trump. Turn to the audience. She is not running a campaign. She is running a lifestyle brand. She is the Kylie Jenner of socialism. The comparison got huge laughs. But wait, it gets better. Trump pulled up more products. Green New Deal, shirt $40, Fight for Our Future tote bag, $45, little pins, $20 for something that costs 10 cents to make. He scrolled through the store. She has got stickers. She has got hats. She has got, is that a dog leash? She is selling dog leashes for $30? Even AOC looked uncomfortable now. Now she will not tell us how many she has sold. Trump continued, that is private business information. How convenient, but let us guess. He pulled up his phone, showing her Twitter follower count 15 million followers. If even 1% bought something, and that is low. That is very low. That is 150,000 customers, he wrote. 150,000 customers, average order, let us say $60 mix of shirts, hoodies, stickers, shirts. 150,000 times 60 is 9 million in revenue. The number hung on the screen. Even if her profit margin is only 50%, which is low for merch, but let us be generous. That is 4.5 million profit, 4,500,000. 4.5 million from fighting capitalism by selling capitalism. Trump sat on the edge of the stage, looking genuinely amazed. I got to give you credit. I have seen a lot of hustles in my life. I have done a few hustles, but this is art. You are making money off the revolution. You are making millions, telling people that making millions is wrong. He pulled up his old campaign store for comparison. When I sold MAGA hats, you know what? I charged $25, and people called me a greedy businessman, but at least I was not pretending to hate business while doing it. Trump stood up, pacing. Now you are out here selling revolution at luxury prices. You are the revolutionary of overpriced cotton. You are Etsy meets Lenin. He turned to AOC and your followers. They are buying it. They are literally buying it. They are going into debt to buy an $85 hoodie that tells them to hate rich people. The absurdity was sinking in across the audience. You could not write this as a comedy. Trump said, shaking his head, "If I put this in a movie, people would say it is too fake. Nobody would be that hypocritical. They would say nobody would sell $85 anti-capitalist hoodies. But here we are." He pulled up a final comparison. Trump merch versus AOC merch. Item, Trump price. AOC price. Profit margin. Hat, 25, NA 60%. Sweatshirt, 4085, 900%. T-shirt, 204700%. I charged less. Trump pointed at the screen. I am the evil billionaire, and I charged less than the socialist. He walked back to his seat. Here is the thing that really gets me. I respect a good hustle. I do. I have seen a lot of schemes, but at least I never scammed people who trusted me to save them. His voice got serious. You told your followers you would fight the powerful. You told them you would fight unfairness. You told them you would make things equal. And then you turned around and sold them $85 hoodies. He leaned forward. You are not fighting capitalism, you are winning at it. Winning at. Very successfully, you should be proud. Just stop pretending you are against it. Trump pulled out one last document. And you know what the best part is? The absolute best part. Your store has a disclaimer at the bottom, very small, hard to find. He read from the paper, proceeds, support, our organizing efforts. Organizing efforts. Is that what we call profit? Now, very creative, very smart. He tossed the paper aside. Translation, we are keeping the money, which is fine. It is your campaign, you can spend it how you want. But do not pretend you are reinvesting in the cause when you are really just filling your war chest, AOC tried to respond. The proceeds go to campaign activities like paying your consultant friends. Trump shot back instantly. Like paying for your luxury apartment, like funding your black car service. He turned to the lens. She is not building a movement. She is building a brand. And her brand is worth millions, because she figured out you can make a fortune in America by pretending to hate how people make fortunes in America. Trump smiled. It is genius, really. It is almost beautiful if it was not so cynical and manipulative and fake. One more round, he announced the final blow. This is where it all comes together. This is where you see the whole picture. Comment false if you are ready, because what comes next, this is the one that ends it all. Tucker Carlson made one last attempt to keep the show on track. We are running low on time, so let us take one final audience question. Wait, we have not talked about the staged tear gas. Trump interrupted, practically bouncing in his seat. A young woman in the audience looked confused. What staged tear gas? Trump's grin was scary. Oh, this is the best one. This is the one that shows you everything you need to know about her. Tucker, you are going to want to get this on tape. This is real journalism, not fake news. Real journalism. He pulled out what was clearly his prize binder, thicker than all the others. May 2024 border protest. You remember this, Alexandria? I bet you remember this. AOC's face went pale. The screen filled with the images that had gone viral that summer. AOC bent over, clutching her eyes, appearing to be in agony, the photos that had been on every news site, the images that had made her look like a victim of brutality. These pictures, Trump said softly, dangerously. You remember these? They went everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, CNN, every newspaper. AOC gassed at protest. Ocasio-Cortez injured, defending rights. He pointed at the screen. Look at her, so brave, so suffering, so tortured, such raw human drama. Trump paused, except it was not. He clicked to the next slide, wider-angle videos from bystanders, the kind that did not make it into the official news reports. The police line was 50 yards away, and the air was clear, completely clear, no smoke, no gas. The wind was blowing towards the officers, not towards her, the audience gasped. Even Democrats, who had defended these photos, were seeing the full picture for the first time. She was pretending to be gassed, Trump said, his voice filled with fake disbelief. There was no gas, there was no chemical. She was standing in fresh air. She just bent over and rubbed her eyes to look like she was attacked. He pulled up a series of photos from different angles. Look at this. Here is her checking her phone a second before being gassed. You cannot check your notifications if you are blinded. Genius. Here is her winking at her photographer. A second later, here is her staff handing her water for her eyes. She was never treated. She was never hurt. She was never impacted. She washed her face and walked away. Trump walked to the center of the stage. This is who she is. Everything. Everything is a show. Everything is content. Everything is Instagram. He pulled up more examples. Here is her unplanned conversation with a crying child actor hired from an agency invoice clearly visible. Here is her surprise visit to a picket line union, leaders notified 5 days in advance. Here is her emotional speech, 5 different camera angles, all perfectly lit. The evidence was overwhelming. She is not a congresswoman. Trump said, she is a content creator who works in Congress. Every moment is planned. Every photo is staged. Every injury is for the camera. He turned to face her directly. You want to help protesters? You are a member of Congress. You have power. You can pass laws. You can actually do something. His voice rose. But that is not viral. That is not cool. That is not going to get you on the cover of Vanity Fair. So instead, you go to the border and pretend to be gassed for Instagram. Trump pulled out his phone, pulling up her social media stats. Those photos got 2 million likes. They were shared millions of times. They made you a martyr, and they were fake. He let that word hang in the air. Fake. The thing you accuse me of spreading. Fake news, fake photos, fake bravery. All of it manufactured for clicks. Trump walked back to the big screen. Let me show you something. I had my team put together a timeline every major viral moment from your career. A timeline appeared AOC's greatest hits. Manufactured moments. June 2019. Parking lot. Crying staged photos. July 2020. Billionaires are bad, 500K likes. Jan 2021. Tax the rich, dress 600K likes. May 2024. Fake tear gas fumes invisible, every single one. Trump pointed at each entry, calculated, staged, designed to go viral. You are not a politician. You are an influencer. He turned to the audience, and that would be fine. There is nothing wrong with being an influencer, but do not pretend you are something else. Do not pretend you are a freedom fighter when you are really just building a personal brand. Trump pulled up her committee assignments. You know what committees you are on: financial services and oversight. You know how many major bills you have passed? Zero. Not one in 6 years in Congress. You have not passed a single major piece of legislation. The number appeared on screen in huge font: 0. But you have got millions of followers. You have got a Hulu documentary. You have got magazine covers. You have sold millions in merchandise. You have built a media empire. Trump smiled coldly. You are not there to lead. You are there to make content. Congress is your set, and America is your audience. He walked over to her seat one final time. So let us review everything we have learned tonight. And folks at home, I really want you to think about this. Trump counted on his fingers. 1, you wore an $80,000 gown to a party with billionaires to tell people that being rich is bad. 2, you drive a $250,000 luxury car and live in a high-rise while claiming to represent the poor. 3, you used a local garden's tragedy for political points, then refused help for them because it came from the wrong people. 4, you lecture everyone about climate change while producing 10 times more carbon than the average American. 5, you pay your friends through campaign funds while attacking corruption. 6, you sell $85 hoodies that say "tax the rich" to people who are not rich. And 7, you pose for fake tear gas photos with invisible fumes for Instagram likes. He spread his arms wide. Everything is a performance. Everything is content. Everything is brand management. Trump's voice dropped, becoming almost conversational. She is not a socialist. She is not a revolutionary. She is not even really a politician. She is an actress playing a part. And the role is woke congresswoman who fights the system. He turned to the lens, but it is all fake. The whole thing is an act designed to get followers, donations, book deals, speaking fees, Hulu specials. She found a market: young progressives who want to feel like they are part of something, and she sells to them. Trump walked back to center stage. She sells them hope. She sells them anger. She sells them merchandise. And she sells them a fantasy that they are part of a revolution. His voice hardened, but it is just marketing. It is the best marketing campaign I have ever seen, and I have seen some great ones. I have run some great ones. He looked directly at AOC. You know what the saddest part is? There are real problems in America. Real inequality, real people struggling, real families who cannot afford health care or housing or school. Trump paused. And instead of helping them, you are making TikToks. You are doing photo shoots. You are selling hoodies. You are building your brand. His voice rose to a shout. You are not the solution. You are part of the problem. You are just another person getting rich and famous off of telling people that other people are too rich and too famous. He turned to the audience. At least when I was building buildings, people got homes, people got jobs, people got something real. What are you building? A Twitter following, an Instagram vibe? Trump sat down in his seat. Suddenly, calm. You are not a congresswoman. You are a content creator who happens to work in Congress. And that is the truth. The silence in the room was total. Even AOC's biggest fans sat stunned, unable to process the systematic destruction they had just witnessed. Tucker Carlson looked in shock. We need to give Representative Ocasio-Cortez a chance to respond. AOC stood up, her hands shaking slightly. This has been nothing but a character assassination, a planned attack meant to What Trump interrupted, his voice tired now, meant to point out that your whole life is a contradiction, that you preach one thing and live another, that you have built a fortune by pretending to fight against fortunes. He shook his head. I did not attack your character, Alexandria. I just showed people who you really are. There is a difference. AOC tried again. You have taken things out of context. I have shown proof. Trump said flatly, bank records, FEC filings, your own photos, your own words. There is no context that makes it okay to fake an injury for Instagram likes. He stood up one final time. You know what? I am done. Tucker, I am done. She can have the last word if she wants, but America has already seen enough. Trump started gathering his binders. The Davos gown, the lucid sapphire, the garden, the private choppers, the consulting payments, the $85 hoodies, the fake tear gas. It is all there. It is all documented. It is all real. He looked directly at the lens. She is not what she claims to be. She never was, and now everyone knows it. Trump walked off the stage, leaving AOC standing alone. Her career in smoke, her contradictions exposed, her performance ended. The champagne socialist had met reality, and reality won within hours of the town hall's conclusion. The hashtag fake tear gas exploded across every social media platform. The wider-angle videos of AOC's staged protest reached 70 million views. Before midnight, conservative media had their biggest night ever. Liberal media scrambled to do damage control, but the damage was done. MSNBC's own panel, immediately following the town hall, was awkwardly silent. Before Rachel Maddow tried to spin it, look, some of these points deserve discussion, but the overall tone she trailed off, even she could not sell it. CNN ran a segment titled Questions Raised About Ocasio-Cortez's Authenticity. The New York Post published an article the next morning. The Limits of Performance Activism. When Symbols Replace Substance. The Wall Street Journal checked the town hall and rated most of Trump's claims as true, or mostly true. Progressive allies tried to defend her on Twitter, but the confusion was too strong. The gown still raised awareness, they argued. But awareness of what? That you could be a socialist in designer clothes, that revolution could be bought for $85 on a website. Her polling numbers in her own district dropped 20 points in a week, not deadly, but trending wrong. Democratic leadership issued careful statements. Hakeem Jeffries' office leaked an anonymous quote to Axios, "She has become more burden than benefit." Chuck Schumer told donors privately, "We need to focus on candidates who can win, not candidates who can trend." Moderate Democrats, who had always been doubtful of her, saw an opening. Richie Torres of New York tweeted, "I have always said we need practical solutions, not Instagram activism." Tim Ryan of Ohio was more blunt. "Turns out you cannot TikTok your way to governing." Her 2026 primary opponent, a moderate Democrat named Jessica Ramos, announced her run with a devastating ad. It showed AOC's luxury building, her lucid sapphire, the Davos photos, and her merchandise store, all set to her own words about fighting inequality. The slogan, "Real representation, not performance art." The ad went viral, 4 million views in 48 hours. AOC's social media presence, once her superpower, became her trap. Every new post was flooded with comments. How is the fake tear gas? Where is your chopper? Did you cry at Erewhon today? Her follower count dropped by 4 million in 2 weeks. Not a huge percentage, but the energy had shifted. Conservative influencers had a field day. Ben Shapiro dedicated an entire week of shows to the town hall. Tucker Carlson played clips every night for 10 days straight. Even moderate commentators like Bill Maher joined in. Look, I am liberal, but you cannot sell socialism from a luxury penthouse. It just does not work. The tax the rich merchandise sales crashed. Screenshots of the $85 hoodie circulated with captions like "Irony is dead" and "AOC killed it." Her campaign store quietly lowered prices by 30%, then 50%, then took down the most expensive items. She canceled 3 scheduled speaking events, blaming scheduling conflicts. She went dark on Twitter for 96 hours a lifetime for someone who lived online. When she finally returned to social media, the tone was different, more defensive, less confident. She posted a long thread trying to explain the protest photos, the Davos summit, the expenses. Each tweet got mocked mercilessly. Trump, for his part, did not gloat much. He did not need to. He posted one message on Truth Social. "Great town hall last night. Lots of truth revealed. Some people are not what they claim to be. Very sad. 8 million views. 50,000 comments, mostly celebrating." The larger cultural impact was huge. AOC-style politics, heavy on social media, light on actual laws, fell out of favor among Democratic strategists. The 2026 primary season saw a big shift toward candidates highlighting their bill passage record over their Twitter, following progressive candidates started avoiding the Democratic Socialist label like poison. They talked about specific policy plans instead of revolutionary speeches. They took the train instead of flying when possible. They shopped at Kroger and made sure photographers caught them doing it. The Instagram left era was over. AOC had killed it. Or rather, Trump had killed it, using AOC's own contradictions as the weapon. 3 months after the town hall, someone spotted AOC at a Whole Foods in LA. She was wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, clearly trying not to be recognized. She was buying organic kale and expensive water. Her Lucid Sapphire was parked outside in a valet spot. Someone took a photo. It went viral. Of course, the caption, "Some people never learn." The comments were brutal, but expected, still shopping like the 1%. Where are the invisible fumes? Is that an $85 hoodie under that jacket? Tax the rich, but shop like them. AOC saw the photo trending while sitting in her Manhattan apartment. She closed her laptop and looked out at the view, the kind of view that costs $5,000 a month to enjoy. Her phone buzzed with messages from her team about crisis management and damage control. She ignored them all for the first time since entering politics. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was truly silent. The performance was over, the audience had left, and the champagne had gone flat.